Are you wanting to make money from home and you're thinking about opening an Etsy shop but feel like it's just so oversaturated, you're not sure what to sell that's actually going to work? Stick around, I'm going to show you how to actually plan what to sell. Hi, my name is Jordan. I started my Etsy shop over 4 years ago, so back in 2020. It was actually kind of a hard time to start an Etsy shop because literally everybody was home and everybody was trying to make money from home and everybody was starting an Etsy shop. But somehow it still worked because no matter what, you can be successful. There's always room for success, no matter how much the market seems saturated. The first tip I want to give you is to make sure that you enjoy what you're going to sell. It's going to be a job, and so you don't want to hate it every single day. You're going to have to work at a lot, and so you're not going to want to hate what you're doing. I decided that I wanted to sell baby items because back in 2020, I was pregnant with my last baby, and it was my first boy. So I started playing around with a sewing machine that my aunt gave me, and I was trying to make baby items at home that I actually enjoyed. So I figured, why not keep doing this and sell? I'll go into the guidelines on what you can sell on Etsy, and then I'll talk about what I think works best to sell. So the products that you can sell on Etsy are either handmade, digital, or vintage. Handmade category actually is something that you actually start from scratch and create yourself, or you are personalizing yourself. So in my shop, as an example, I sell swaddle blankets. I do not make the swaddle blankets, but I embroider on them the baby's name. So that is me personalizing the item for the customer. I do make items from scratch as well, but you just can't take a swaddle blanket that you bought at a store and resell it. You have to do something that makes it your own, like customization or something like that. Another guideline is to have it designed by the seller. So when you're selling a digital item, again, you can't just take a whole product that you saw online, like say a calendar or a to-do list template, and just resell it on Etsy. You have to go onto a website like Canva or something like that, create it yourself, and then you are able to sell it on Etsy. The vintage item category that you can sell on Etsy has to be handpicked by you, and they have to be at least 20 years old or from nature, or they can be a certain collection of items created especially by you. The other category that you can sell on Etsy is something that is sourced by the seller. An example of this would be craft supplies. So if you are wanting to sell something like an embroidery kit, you can create the embroidery pattern and then collect the items such as the needle, the thread, the hoop, and everything else that the buyer may need to do that whole project. So this would be under the supplies and crafts. You can also do the same thing with party supplies. So you can pick, say you're doing an ice cream party. You can create a whole entire bundle of stuff that has to do with an ice cream party and sell that as a bundle on Etsy. You have to be very careful with copyright stuff on Etsy. They are very strict. The companies are very strict. Disney is one that will take your listing down if you sell anything that you don't have the rights. The copyright thing I want to get into just a little bit more because they are very strict about this. I see a lot of people complain that they got their listing taken down and they're not sure why. It's probably because of a copyright. You cannot use any celebrities, any companies or any movies, anything like that that you don't have the rights to. You cannot sell that. You really can't do that anywhere. But Etsy really monitors that so that you don't get in trouble and Etsy doesn't get in trouble. Etsy has a whole seller's handbook that will explain all of this. It also goes into stuff like you cannot sell drugs, weapons, alcohol, obviously anything like that. So if you want even more detail on the things that I just gave you, the Etsy seller handbook is on their website. Now to just get into what I personally think works best selling on Etsy. As a customer, I go to Etsy for personal items. I do think it's really cool that they have vintage items that you can buy and shop for on Etsy, but it's not something I go to Etsy for because I personally love going to antique stores or thrift shops and finding those antique items myself. But if it's something that you love doing, I know that there's a market for it on Etsy, so you definitely can do that. What I go to Etsy for is personalized items because you can buy a lot of things pretty much everywhere, but to have it personalized and be trusted and come out good, Etsy is the place to go. So if you are thinking of a handmade product, you want to think of ways where you can personalize it for your customer, whether it be adding a name to it or letting them pick the specific colors, however that may be. I know a lot of people do great with selling like paintings, house portraits, animal portraits, anything like that. My shop is all custom baby stuff. So they are able to put their baby's names, their birth stats, anything like that on embroidery hoops. And you can't go to Target and get stuff like that. You can actually do the same thing with digital items. So you can create a digital product and let the customer be able to customize it, or you customize it for them before they actually get it. So even though you're doing it all online and you're just going to send it through them through email, they can still customize it. So I have embroidery patterns on my shop, and I also have a baby name announcement that is just a photo on my shop, but they're able to go online, go on the website that I have set up, and personalize the picture or the embroidery pattern. I did have some items in my shop that were not personalized, so I think I had some pacifier clips and some bibs that I would just send out. They just would not have any name or anything like that on them. And even though I had them priced cheaper, they did not sell as well. There would be once in a while I would get a sale for them, but the things that would sell in my shop are the things that people could personalize. And making baby items and hand embroidering is something that I love doing and I can do every day, and I have done every day for 4 years. I am able to do it at home. I can sit on the couch and watch a movie as I'm doing it. I can do it at the park when my kids play. It is something I can just do whenever, and it just works for me. So when you are looking to sell a product on Etsy, don't only think about if it's going to sell and work on Etsy, but make sure it's something that you enjoy and it works into your lifestyle. So subscribe to my channel and turn on the notifications so you'll get an alert for my next video, which is all about how to do research to open up your Etsy shop.